Let me set my timer. I should have did that before. Okay. Hello, Sam. Welcome to our sessions for the week. How are you today?
I feel really anxious. I feel nervous. I'm worried about this test that's coming up.
Okay. Okay, we'll talk about that more in our session today. I'm wondering how your week has gone for the last week since we've last met.
Um, I had a cross country meet, and mock trials started up again. And I am really struggling with this AP US history class, but I'm trying. Um, but yeah, just like I'm taking calculus and it just feels like a lot. Like there's a lot. And I feel like I should like other people are able to do it. So like why am I not able to do it? You know? Like I should be able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, being in high school, doing extracurricular activities plus classes is a lot. So I can see that. Is there any other things that have been going on that may be adding to the stress additionally, other than um, extracurricular and classes?
Um, I mean, I think that my mom is being my mom and like I love her and stuff, but sometimes it just feels like we we all have to walk on eggshells around her. And when I'm like really stressed about trying to get an assignment done, um, like she doesn't understand. And
Mm,
they don't understand that I need quiet and like my space to be able to get this stuff done.
mm. Okay, that could be interesting. So you talked about having to walk on eggshells when you're home. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I my mom is just really mean. I think she's really mean, but like I yeah, she's very mean. But like I know she loves me. Like she's very supportive of me doing these extracurricular activities and like is really supportive of me going to college and really like has always encouraged me and my sisters to like do these things that make us happy and like get a job and but also there is this part of her, this experience where she just like will blow up if she's like feeling angry and doesn't ever like I can't like she doesn't take any feedback. Like like she's always right, I'm always wrong. I don't know.
Mm,
And it's like that for everybody. It's not
okay.
just and also like my dad always says like no one's family is perfect and everybody's family has like stuff and there's nothing like special or like about how bad or uncomfortable this feels because like everybody's family is like this. And so I like get it, but it just adds to the stress.
Okay, interesting. So it sounds like whole family could be dealing with the way mom interacts, and dad has his own way of coping in terms of just saying that everybody kind of deals with this. Um, can I ask, what do you do to cope with the stress that you're getting from school and from also running track and also at home with mom, having to walk on eggshells? What have you been doing that has been working?
Um, well, I think that I just try to ignore it. Um, I write a lot of poetry, actually. Um, I think that I write a lot of poetry, and I mean, honestly, like I'm doing a lot of I like go hang out with my friend um a lot, and I also have a boyfriend. And so like I try to spend time not at home. Um I mean, I think that's probably like a big thing. Poetry and reading. I do so much reading. I'm really into this really cool series called Twilight.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh. And Harry Potter.
Okay, nice. How often would you say you use those coping skills throughout the week? Reading and writing poetry and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for reading, I read like all the time. Um, it's become harder as I've gotten older, in like taking these AP classes, but I read my mom. That's actually a thing my mom does with us, is she brings us to the library every week. And so we are able to like take out however many books we want to take out. And I just like go to the young adult section and just like take any book. Like I rent like 12 books at a time. Like I just love reading. And I love reading. I've read like I'm reading Twilight and Harry Potter, and I've read those a bunch of times, but also like I'm really into like other like young adult like sci-fi and like rom-com type books. And yeah, what other books am I basically just like I also read before I go to bed, and it's like a huge part of my life.
Awesome. That's amazing. I think that that's a good way to cope with everything, considering you have so many things going on. And would you say, when you're feeling anxious or nervous about things, when reading or writing poetry, how do you feel after you kind of indulge in those activities?
I think that after writing, like normally it's I like feel like so overwhelmed and like anxious. Um, I just am like, blah, and I like write stuff, and then I'm like, wow, okay, that feels better. Um, but like I have just like so much. I think that like I should be just like I like should be getting better grades, and I should be able to do more, and I should be able to um just like succeed. I was recently rejected from like a summer um like internship at the Cleveland Clinic, and like other people in my class got it, and like I just don't know why I didn't. And um and I just feel like a failure.
Mm, okay. So, other people in your class applied to this internship at the Cleveland Clinic, was it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you weren't able to get it. I know that might be pretty hard. What was what requirements and stuff kind of went along with that? If you don't mind me asking.
Um, I think that I needed to fill out this application, and I think I wrote like a little like about me thing, and um I also think that we had to say like what we wanted to be when we were like when we grew up, and um I wanted to go into like forensic pathology. And now I'm feeling a little bit differently, but at the time of the application, that's like what I wanted to do. And I'm wondering, like, maybe I said the wrong thing.
Mhm.
but doing research would have been really cool.
Mm. Okay, interesting, definitely. So I do want to kind of like dive in to thoughts and how those things kind of interact with feelings and behaviors. First I want to say thank you for kind of letting me in a little bit more. So I want to talk to you about this strategy that some social workers and therapists use called cognitive behavioral therapy. And I'm curious, have you heard of cognitive behavioral therapy before?
No, I actually like my parents think therapy's stupid. And so I'm like, I want to talk to someone, but like I just don't know anything about it. Um, and some of me feels bad and like a failure for having to be here at all. And so I just don't know anything.
Okay. Well, let's kind of dive into that. Well, let's start by talking about what cognitive behavioral therapy is. So, oftentimes you may hear me say CBT, which is just an acronym for cognitive behavioral therapy. It's kind of a quicker way to say it. So CBT, in a sense, is a way to think about our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions and how they're connected. And so, if you think about it in a way of a triangle, it's it kind of pretty much means one thing kind of affects the next. So if we have feelings at the top, if we draw a line down to our thoughts, we'll draw another line to our actions, and they pretty much kind of go in that same circle. So I'm actually going to share my screen with you so we can kind of look at this together. Let's see. I just had it. Here we go. Okay, can you see that? Can you see my
Yeah.
screen? Okay.
Yeah, I see a CBT person handout and a screenshot of the cognitive. Ooh, that's nice.
Okay, so here we go. Alrighty, let me make it a little bigger for you. Okay, so just now I was talking about, so feelings are at the top. This event happens essentially, which is in the middle, and it creates feelings. And then the doing is our actions, and then thinking is what we think. So I like to think that it could go either way, but let's make it go from feelings to thinking to actions. So we are talking about you applying for the internship at the Cleveland Clinic, which was the event that happened. And you got rejected, even though some people in your class did. And so let's talk about what feelings you initially had when you got that rejection letter.
I felt stupid and bad.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then why did you feel that way?
I felt like I felt bad. Um, I felt I felt bad and then I felt bad about having feelings and then I felt frustrated. And I thought like I should have been able to do this.
Mm-hmm. And so essentially you had the feelings of feeling kind of unworthy or things like that. The words you use were stupid. I don't want to call you stupid, but just kind of unworthy and not able to do it, kind of resulting in um the reason you're thinking that you weren't able to do like what we're talking about. And then in response to that, what actions do you think kind of came from that?
I hung up the rejection letter up near my bed so I could be reminded that I need to do better.
Mm, okay. So I want to talk to you about, let's try to work on this. So this is called a CBT person. And remember, CBT is a cognitive behavioral therapy. And so the ideas that we put here on the triangle, we're going to kind of translate here to our CBT person.
Okay.
So, Let's see if I can edit this on here.
Hmm. Oh, what if there's like a little squiggly line in the top left?
But oh, is it here?
No, two over. Or you could type. You could type probably with that.
Let's see.
Huh. Oh, there's some writing.
Okay. I was hoping we could type it really fast. Okay, so let's um let's use another situation. Um, let's talk about another situation that may have happened in the last week or so that has also caused some anxiety for you. And we can do something that involves mom or something like that.
Um, could we talk about my physics test?
Sure.
Okay. Um, I have a physics test coming up, and my instructor said that, oh, you might be able to type in that. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mhm.
Huh. Uh, I think that, so my instructor said that if we got an A on the test, then we wouldn't have to take the final for the class. And so I'm like really freaking out because I want to be able to pass this test and not have to take the final. And I'm feeling sick. I feel like nauseous. Um, but so the yeah, I'm really scared about this test.
Okay, so physics tests and wanting to pass the test is which is very valid. Um, a lot of times anxiety and wanting to be good at something can cause anxiety, and sometimes that's okay because you want to do something well. But there are some tools and things that we can use to kind of ease that anxiety for you so you can do well and the anxiety won't kind of psych you out. And so we're going to try to like work on that. And we're going to start by using our CBT person to kind of walk ourselves through those feelings, okay? And so
Okay.
right now I'm going to put the physics. Can I spell physics?
PHY. Yeah, PHY, I think.
There
Yeah.
we go. Physics test. And one
Yeah.
pass. Past test. Okay, so we're going to put that as this event or trigger. And so in response to that, okay, how did I do that? What did I do? Okay, boom. And so what thoughts have you been getting around wanting to pass this physics test?
If I don't pass, then I'm a failure.
Okay, so any other thoughts that you want to add to this box?
Um, if I think like if I don't pass, I'm a failure. And if I fail physics, then I'll fail um like if I fail the test, then I'll fail the class.
So we have two thoughts here. The first one is if I don't pass, then I am a failure. If I fail the test, then I will fail the class. Looking at these feelings, they can be divided and you can feel all of these at one time. And so if we were to think about this in a 100% scale, how much would you feel each of these? And we can also add additional ones. So, what percentage of you is happy about these thoughts? sad,
0.
mad, sacred, zero, happy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put zero there. What about sad?
Um, I think maybe like 5% sad.
Okay. How about mad?
Um, I don't think I'm feeling mad. Well, I think I'm feeling like, so I think that one is supposed to say scared. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I'm feeling like 90% scared.
90% scared. Okay, so we're gonna put 90 on scared, zero at mad. Was that what
I'm
we said?
feeling mad.
Okay.
I'm feeling scared, I'm feeling sad, and I think I have like 5% shame.
Okay, 5% shame. Okay, so with all of these feelings, what this says to us is that we are 5% sad, we're 90% scared, and we're 5% have shame and our guilt. And sometimes you can feel these things in our body. And
Mhm.
so I want to draw that on our CBT person that represents you. So where would you say you feel the sadness in your body? And we're going to draw it. If I can figure out.
I think like in my shoulders.
In your shoulders. Okay.
Yeah, like shoulder pads.
I wasn't trying to delete it. Trying to change the color. Okay. I can't be jazzy today, so I'm just gonna I'm just gonna circle this, put a little swirly there for shoulders.
Yeah.
Okay. And where else would you say you feel sadness, if any?
I think that's it.
Okay. Where would you say you feel the scaredness in your body?
Stomach
S-
and in my head.
Stomach and in head. Okay.
Yeah.
So for sadness, or sorry, for scared, we're gonna put a star.
Okay.
We have a little grid. So we're gonna put a star here.
Definitely in my head, definitely in my stomach. I feel like I'm gonna vomit.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that.
I feel like I'm gonna vomit and then my head hurt. My head feels like cloudy, you know?
So we have some
I'm
cloudiness going on.
anxious at all. I should be able to just do it.
Yeah. So we have somewhat of a cloud. It may look like a state, but we're gonna pass that. Where would you say you feel shame or guilt in your body?
Head too.
I forget about legs. We have legs and feet here too.
I think my legs are don't feel anything.
Hmm. So, where would you say you feel shame and guilt?
In my head.
Your head. Okay.
Mhm.
For shame and guilt, we're gonna draw a heart. So we'll put that here. So this is a representation of how feelings can be present in our body. And so we feel the sadness in our shoulders. We can feel the scared in our stomach because it may make us want to feel like we're going to throw up. Plus in our head because we're just kind of sad in our head. And plus shame and guilt in our head as well. Does that make sense where that's kind of like showing up in your body? Mm-mm. And
And
so in response to that, oh, did you want to look at it one more time?
no, that all makes sense, I think.
Okay. Do you have any questions so far?
No.
Okay. So we have all of these things that are showing up as a result of the physics test and one in the past, and they are resulting in behaviors. So as a result of wanting to pass our physics tests and having these feelings in our body, what behaviors have you noticed?
Um, I think I have been sleeping less because I'm trying to study a lot. Um, and I, yeah, so I'm sleeping less. I think that I'm like not spending time with my friends really,
Mhm.
um, or doing nice things. Like, I'm studying and I'm like doing my extracurriculars and I'm going home.
Okay, so for behaviors, we're sleeping less to study more. We're not spending time with friends, and we're not essentially doing self-care, is what I've gotten
Yeah.
from your saying. So this earlier we talked about how feelings, actions, and thinking are all connected to events that happen in our life. And so this is kind of a map of what that looks like inside of our body. So let's start from the beginning and we're going to kind of walk through this. And then we're going to try to walk through it again um, with a different trying to adjust our thoughts. So the point of CBT is to show that thoughts trigger feelings that trigger actions. But if we change our thoughts, it could trigger different feelings to different actions. And so that's the idea that we want to kind of come up with today. Um, so that's where we're going with this. So let's start from the beginning. And so we have this physics test and we really want to pass. And this is triggering thoughts that if I don't pass, then I am a failure. If I fail this test, then I will fail the class. Out of 100% of our feelings, we're feeling 5% sad, we're feeling 90% scared, and we're feeling 5% shame and or guilt. And then these are showing up all over our body, within our stomach, our shoulders, and our head. In a result, we are sleeping less to study more. We're not spending time with our friends, and we're not doing self-care. And so, do we see how these thoughts that are negative kind of trickle down to negative behaviors that we have? Does that
Yeah.
make okay? And so, I want to take this same dynamic and I want us to kind of adjust it with different thoughts. So let's go in and we're going to, well, actually, let's try to do a new one so we can compare them.
Mm.
Let's see, let's go back. Where are you?
Oh, up one.
Oh, it's, here we go. Okay. So we're going to do this one more time, but we're going to adjust our thoughts. We're going to think it because sometimes our thoughts can be a trap. And this happens to a lot of us where we'll have these thoughts and then we'll fall into a negative spiral of negative thinking, and then we will continue to think negatively. Our behaviors will be results of those negative thoughts. And so, if we catch ourselves and we change those thoughts, we can change the outcome of the anxiety that comes about with those events, right?
Mm.
Let's start by editing this. I don't remember what I did the last time I did that. Okay. Did I click this? Let me be great, computer. Okay, here we go. So we're going to start with the same thought. Sorry, the same event.
Is
Physics,
it?
physics, Jesus. I can't spell. I can't spell. It's Phy. Oh, is that right? Physics tests.
It,
Yeah, there we go. That's why I'm a social worker. Um, okay, so physics tests coming up. So let's adjust our thoughts. So last time we were saying if I fail, I'm going to fail the class. And those are considered negative thoughts. So what is a positive thought that you may have gotten or that you can think of that we can think of about the physics test coming up?
if I pass the test, I'm not a failure.
Okay. Exclamation mark. So any other ones you want to add on there? It's okay if no.
Um, I mean, I guess it's not actually true that I would fail the class if I failed the test.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
So,
I fail the test and still pass the class.
okay. So we have so far our physics test is coming up, which is our event or trigger, and then which triggers the thoughts. If I pass the test, I am not a failure. The second one is if I fail the test, I will still pass the class, which is great. So now out of 100%, now out of 100% of our feelings, let's break down where we may feel these in our bodies. Make this a little bit smart. Oh, okay, there we go. Maybe can you see that on your end? Okay, so we can see a little bit better. Okay, so where would you say, well, let's break this down. What percent makes you feel happy about this thought?
I think that I feel like 5% happy with the thought of like if I pass the class, I'm not a failure.
Okay, 5%. What about sad?
Um, oh wait, actually, I think also remembering that if I fail the test, I will still pass the class. I feel like relief, which seems like happy, maybe.
I actually would rather add that on here. Relief.
Oh yeah. I think that I don't feel happy. I think I feel like relief.
Okay. So, do you want to keep happy or do you want to add it under relief
I
instead?
want to make happy 0 and I want relief to be like 25%.
Okay, I like that. So we're gonna make relief 25%. What about sadness?
If I pass the test, I am not a failure.
Hmm.
I think that um I think that I don't feel sadness. I think that I don't feel mad. I think that I feel like I feel like an amount of shame at the thought of failing at all. And so there's like, I would say like 20% shame at the thought of like if I fail, even though I'll pass, like that still feels bad. But then I'm like 55% scared. I think that equals 100.
Okay. Are there any other feelings that you would like to add? Because even though they're not here, we can still create them.
Hmm. I think that scared and shame and relief are,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I believe we're just going to pretend that adds up to 100. So yes, so we have our feelings, and so we are 25% relieved that if you pass the test, you will not be a failure. And also, if you pass the test, you will not pass. You will not. If you fail the test, you will not. You will still pass the class. So
Mhm.
25% of that, which also 55% scared because we're still taking a test, and 20% shame and guilt of feeling like if I fail this test, I will still pass. So I kind of want to draw that out in the body as well, like we did the last time. So for relief, where would you say you feel relief in the body?
I think that I feel relief like in my whole torso.
Okay. So we're going to make this one look in your torso. Okay, there we go. What about scared?
I feel scared in my head and in my shoulders.
Okay, what about shame and guilt?
I think I feel it like on this part of my chest, like in
Oh,
between the shoulders.
okay. Um, we'll do the heart this time. Okay,
You.
so now we have a visualization of where we feel these in our bodies. Let's talk about what that changes for behaviors. So now that we are 25% relieved, 55% scared, 20% shame and guilt, what behaviors could come about these new feelings that we have?
Um, I think that I might let myself sleep more.
Okay.
Yeah. And but I mean, I'm still gonna study a lot. Um,
So maybe a healthier balance of studying.
yeah, maybe I could try that.
Hmm. Any other behaviors that may change?
Mm, I think that I might not cancel plan with my friend.
Okay. So let's walk through this again. And just so you know, we have about 6 to 7 minutes. And
Mm.
so we're going to kind of compare these two, and then we're going to kind of talk next stop. So first, we're going to walk through this. worksheet that we have. So this event or trigger that we have is the physics test is coming up. And we decided that we're going to adjust our thoughts to more positive thoughts. So if I pass this test, I am not a failure. And if I fail this test, I will still pass this class. In response, we have 25% relief. We're 25% relief in our feelings, 55% scared, and 20% shame or guilt. And this is where it's all showing up in our body in these areas here. And as a result of those feelings, we're getting more sleep. We could be creating healthier balance of studying, and we may not have to cancel plans with our friends. And so here we have this one. I want to bring up the one that we did before. Let's just get this guy out of here. See if
Mm.
let's see if we can put them side by side so we can compare. Okay. So just like we talked about earlier, in CBT, our thoughts, feelings, and actions are in a triangular motion. And so whether you're having positive thoughts or negative thoughts, it goes in that same triangle. And
Mhm.
so when we first started, we had these thoughts that were triggered by these negative thoughts that we were having, and they resulted in these behaviors that are not healthy for us to have, right? And so instead, we decided to change those thoughts and think of it in a different alternative way. And then the result, we are potentially getting more sleep and having healthier balances for studying and not having to cancel plans. And so, do you see that difference in how our thoughts can trigger different actions for ourselves?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think I mean, like, if I could remember, like, I will still pass the class. I might be open to trying to sleep more and trying to like give myself a break
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
sure.
And ideally, if we have more sleep, do you think we'll be less anxious about the test, especially if we've still did the studying that we were supposed to do for it?
Probably. I think sleeping generally, yeah, I think it'll be helpful for me to get more sleep.
Yeah. I mean, just, this is something that we can try to put in practice. If you will never get it perfect the first time, maybe it would be excellent if you could. But ideally, if you can kind of like try this out for the next week, that would be awesome. Being mindful of your thoughts, and just not kind of getting caught in that wormhole of like the negative thinking, and just try to see if you can find like maybe a positive thought that could also be as true, and then kind of move forward with that. How does that sound?
I could try it.
Okay. Okay. So, something else I wanted to point out on our worksheets was that scared went down a percentage when we changed our thoughts
Mm,
to
you're
an
so
alternative. Yeah. And so that could be something as well. Also, sadness went down too. Sadness went down 5%. Scared went down quite a bit. Shame and guilt went up a little bit, but more so because the idea of failing the test was still passing the class. And so, but we take our wins where we get them, right?
yeah.
So, we are coming up on our time. So now that we have a little homework that we can kind of do over the next week, I'm excited to see how it works out for you next week. And good luck on your physics test.
Thank
Uh,
you.
if you need anything, feel free to reach out. But are you still available Mondays at 4 o'clock for us to meet next week to see how
Yeah,
things go?
I am. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for coming to session today. Do you have any questions or anything for me at all?
No, No, I don't. I'm gonna try it out.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I will see you next Monday.
Thanks.